Good evening, friends. It is Thursday. No, it's not. It is Wednesday, December 4th, 2019. Miss Dory's ready for bed. All right. So before I go to bed, I would like to read to you for a little bit. So this is chapter 9 of On Christmas Eve by Anna and Martin. And Sadie, Tessa's dog, just made the announcement. Santa has arrived. I look at Sadie in amazement. How do you know? I see him every year, she answers. The sleigh bells are his signal. Now hurry, Tess. But what am I supposed to do? Put on your coat and boots and unlock the front door. Do I have time? Yes, just hurry. I grab my coat out of the hall closet and pull on Evie's boots, which are the first pair I can find. Then, with trembling hands, I turn the lock on the door. When I open the door, Sadie dashes ahead of me out into the yard. I close the door quietly behind us, then hurry after her. She is standing in the middle of the yard, face turned upward, and I lift my face as well. I see the clear, deep sky, the pinpoints of starlight. I think I see the wisp of angel wings, too. And I hear nothing but sleigh bells, so loud now that I put my hands over my ears. There, cries Sadie, pointing upward with one paw. And in a whirl of sparkles and mist, a magnificent sleigh, gold and red, all graceful curves and curlicues, and shining like the stars, appears in the sky just over the roof of our house. It is pulled by a team of reindeer, and as I watch, it makes a smooth landing next to our chimney. It's just like in books, I think. Just exactly like in The Night Before Christmas. And I realized then that of course other people have seen the magic over the years. Maybe Mr. Clement Seymour himself even saw the magic, and that is how he wrote about it so well. I nudge Sadie. Sadie hushes me. Keep watching, she says. I turn back to the roof. My reindeer are standing patiently now. They are a team of 8. 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. They pause nobly, their fine antlers glistening with snow. They paw at the roof, their harness bells jingling, but not as loudly now that they are standing still. I stand on tiptoe and try to get a better look at the sleigh. The inside is crimson-colored velvet, and stuffed into the back is a pack so enormous that it's spilling over the sides of the sleigh. I wish I could see inside the pack, but it's tied together tightly at the top with a crimson cord. Santa's reins are silver, and so are the sleigh bells. And it's funny, but I can't decide what size he is. He looks like a giant and an elf all at once. He's round, of course, with a white beard, and the suit is pretty much what I expected, red with white trim and gold buttons and a black belt. His mittens are green, though, and I wonder if he has many suits, if he has a whole wardrobe of suits, each one a little different from the others. As I watch, Santa drops the reins with a jingle, stands, and climbs out of the sleigh. Then he turns and reaches for the pack. It looks as though it should weigh a ton, but Santa lifts it out as lightly as if it were empty. Then he throws it over his back and steps toward our chimney. I feel Sadie's cold nose on my bare hand, and I look down at her. Come on, Tess, she whispers. Back inside now. You don't want to miss this part. Sadie is already trotting toward the front door, and after one more glance at the spectacle on our roof, this spectacle that apparently only Sadie and I can see and hear, I hurry after her. I follow Sadie into our living room, where she positions herself behind the armchair I was sitting in. From there, we have a good view of the fireplace, but we won't be seen. We direct our attention to the hearth. I have just realized the fire is still blazing away, and I draw in my breath, ready to exclaim something to Sadie when she places one furry paw on my arm, cautioning me to be quiet. My eyes are fixed on the fire. I can't look away from it. I am sure that Santa is going to slide down our chimney and land in the flames. And so my breath comes in small gasps, and I grip Sadie's paw tightly. And then I feel another gust of wind. It seems to come from outside, from above me, from all around. It brings a shower of Santa's sparkling mist down the chimney, and suddenly, I don't know quite how, there's Santa in our living room. The fire blazes behind him, and he stands unharmed, not burned or singed, on our hearth. In fact, he looks a bit chilly. He's rubbing his mittened hands together, and there's a dusting of snow on his shoulders and hat. Santa Claus glances around our living room, and I have just realized that he is not holding his pack, when down the chimney it comes all by itself and lands, almost unharmed, at Santa's feet. "Ah, very good," says Santa softly, and loosens the crimson cord. He rummages around in the pack, pulling out small items. He looks at each one intently, and then either puts it back or sets it at his feet. Presently, he stoops to examine the items he has chosen. I see a game of jacks, a puzzle, a tiny kaleidoscope, an even tinier book. Santa drops one into each of our stockings. Then he turns to the pack again and begins to remove larger presents from it. These are wrapped and bear tags, I realize. But no matter how many things Santa takes out of the pack, it seems to remain as full as ever. Evie, Santa mutters, placing a gift under our tree. Growing up, paint should be all right. Monopoly for Tess. Now that I can see Santa up close, I decide that he is neither a giant nor an elf. Here in our living room, he looks neither particularly tall nor particularly short. What I can't decide now is how old he is. He has that long white beard and some wrinkles too, but somehow he doesn't look elderly. Papa Jim looks older than Santa. Santa is spry and moves quickly as he stoops and rummages and darts between the pack and the tree. After Santa has carefully placed 2 gifts among those already under our tree and written something on their tags, he returns the other presents to the pack and draws the cord tight. Then he looks around our living room again. This time he sees the plate of cookies and the mug of hot chocolate, which must be cold by now, that I left for him on a table near the fireplace. He politely takes a sip from the mug, pats a few drops of hot chocolate from his mustache, then eats a cookie shaped like a snowman. "Tasty," he murmurs. "Very tasty indeed. And a beautifully decorated tree," he adds. "Quite lovely." Then, just like in Mr. Moore's story, Santa stands by the fireplace and lays his finger beside his nose. Is he leaving? Is he leaving already? Santa's about to nod his head when Sadie pushes me from behind the armchair, still wearing Evie's boots and my coat. I stumble out into the room. Santa turns and sees me. "Ah," he says, "Christmas magic." Let's read one more. Chapter 10. For a moment, I can do nothing but stare at Santa. I can't decide what to say to him, and I'm not even sure how I should feel. I'm excited, of course, but is it all right to have spied on Santa? Will he mind? I can't imagine Santa getting angry, but you never know. "Excuse me, Mr. Claus, sir," I begin, and then I am aware of Sadie stepping out from behind the armchair. She stands next to me, leaning against my leg. "There you are, Sadie," says Santa. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," replies Sadie, her mouth widening into a grin. She leaves my side and crosses the floor to Santa Claus, sits before him, and raises her paw. Santa takes it between his hands. So, says Santa, another year. Sadie nods. Another year. And here's Tess. Did you have to help her much? Not at all. She let the magic in all by herself. It was especially important to her this year. Santa regards me seriously. I find my voice. Santa, did you know I would see you this year? I believed you would see me sometime soon. I've been waiting all my life to meet you, I say, and to see the Christmas magic. Finding the magic is a wonderful thing, Tess. Once someone has found the magic, does she always have it? I ask. Not always, but usually. I think of what I must talk to Santa about, but then I remember the important thing I want to do, and I say, Santa, I have something for you. I retrieved the box containing the snow globe from the table next to the armchair. I don't remember setting it there, but I must have done so when the angel appeared and I leapt to my feet. You've given me so many things, I tell Santa, but I've never given you anything, except cookies and cold hot chocolate, which you must get tons of. So this year, I want to give you a present. I hand the box to him. Merry Christmas, I say. Why, thank you, replies Santa, and he's looking at me with eyes that are both twinkling and serious. He removes the lid from the box, pulls aside the tissue paper, and lifts out the snow globe, holding it in his hand for a moment. Slowly, he turns the globe upside down, then right side up, and watches the snow fall on the tiny garden of daffodils and hyacinths. It's so you can see spring flowers even at the North Pole, I tell him. Santa smiles at me. This is a very thoughtful gift, Tess. You can leave it in the box so it won't get broken while you're flying around, I point out. I'll put it someplace special when I get back to the North Pole. And, he goes on, I'll think of you every time I look at it. Thank you, I say then. Santa, could I ask you some questions? Of course. Now is my chance. I draw in a deep breath. My sister and I have had lots of talks, I begin. Well, they're really more like arguments sometimes, and I hope this doesn't offend you, but you should know that Evie doesn't believe in you. She doesn't believe in magic at all. Santa nods his head. Evie says that if there really is a Santa, he should give lots and lots of gifts to poor children, but that poor children sometimes don't get any presents at all. I said that's because you try to do other things for their families, like find houses for them to live in, or find jobs for the grown-ups. Is that right? I do my best, replies Santa. I thought so, I say. I bet you just sprinkle your magic around, like that sparkly misty stuff I saw when you came down our chimney. Santa smiles. So is it true? You do something for everyone, but you do different things for different people? So is it true? You do something for everyone, but you do different things for different people. Like for us, you just leave a couple of presents because we already have so much, and you give magic to other people? Yes, that's so, agrees Santa. I guess that magic explains a lot of things, I go on, thinking of my conversations with Evie. It explains how you could fly around the entire world in just one night, and how I could fit everything for everyone into one pack, adds Santa, pointing to his stuffed sack. The elves must be magic too, I say. Yes, and children's letters are sent to me by magic. Oh, I wondered about that. Because we have always mailed letters to you by sending them up our chimney. Dad says that they traveled in the North Pole in a gust of wind that way. But Sarah used to address her letters to Santa Claus at the North Pole and mail them in a box in town. And her father said they would reach you that way. I guess any way works if there's magic behind it. Exactly so, says Santa. Sadie, who is now sitting on the floor between Santa and me, has been following our conversation by looking back and forth from one to the other. She hasn't said a word, but suddenly I have the feeling that she knows the question I am about to ask and also knows that it may not have an easy answer. Santa, I say, and glance down at Sadie. I have a really important question to ask you. Actually, it's more of a favor. All right, replies Santa Claus. Well, I find that I don't quite know how to begin. Well, my friend Sarah. Yes. Have you been to her house yet tonight? No, not yet. Do you know that her father is sick? I ask. Yes. He's very sick, I add. And Sarah probably didn't write you a letter this year, but I know that she wants more than anything is for her father to get well. He did come home for Christmas, but he isn't well at all. So I was wondering, could you make him well? Could you do that for Sarah? She doesn't want any presents or anything else, just for her father to get well. When you go to her house, you don't even have to slide down her chimney. You can just throw that sparkly stuff on her roof to make her father well, and then you could keep on going. There is a long pause, during which no one says anything. Sadie stands up, though, opens her mouth as if to speak to me, then closes it again. And Santa begins pulling at his mustache. Tess, he finally says. You don't even have to make him well right away, I interrupt him. It can happen gradually. Tess, like by springtime or even summer. It would be really nice, though, if we were well for Christmas next year. Tess, you must understand something, said Santa, as Sadie quickly moves beside me and leans against my leg again. I give many gifts, but I can't do everything. I do my best, but I can't find a home for every person without one, or a job for every person who needs one. I know, I reply, and I know that some people wish for gifts that don't make sense, but Sarah's father, and I can't make everyone well either, continues Santa. Do you understand, Tess? I look down at Evie's boots. Maybe, I say. I guess so. But Santa, couldn't you please try to make Mr. Benjamin well? Please, just try. Santa looks at me with kind eyes. Tess, he says, you have found hope, and that's a wonderful and powerful thing. Hold on to it. And if you can pass the hope on to Sarah this year, it will be the best gift you can give your friend. Santa hasn't answered my question. At least I don't think he has. But he is pulling at his mustache again, and I realize that magic or no magic, he probably needs to be on his way. I guess you have to go back up the chimney now, don't you? I ask. I think it is time, yes, says Santa. I look at him, at his splendid red and white and green suit, at his kind eyes, at the faint mist that surrounds him. For a moment, I forget about wishes and requests and presents and what Santa can and can't do, and think simply, I have seen the magic. It is Christmas Eve, and I am standing in our living room talking to Santa. I have met Santa Claus. Santa is standing by the fireplace again, and now he lays his finger beside his nose. Before he can nod his head, I exclaim, Thank you, Santa. Thank you for all the presents and for talking to me. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, Tess, and thank you for your gift. In a flash, Santa gives a nod, and he and his pack disappear up the chimney, leaving behind a trail of the sparkling mist. My heart is pounding. I have met Santa. I talked to him. I've seen his sleigh and the reindeer and the magic, but I still have questions. Sadie, I say, and she turns to me. Next year, you should keep track of things you want to talk about with me on Christmas Eve, okay? Okay, replies Sadie. Of course, I'll be able to talk to you all year long. That's right. I'm about to ask Sadie a question about Santa Claus, when something occurs to me in the last few moments. Sadie has not actually spoken to me. I have heard her voice in my head, but she hasn't spoken aloud. Sadie, I reply. Yes, she replies. Her mouth doesn't move. Our living room is as silent as snowfall. We will pick it up with chapter 11. Good night, friends.